we are living our lives truthfully. And the reality is, there are people in the world that are not. And so when they see us thriving in the world and creating and building community and engaged and proud of who we are, that really, really shakes people up.
My guests today are the stars of the fabulous show with Fay and Fluffy, Facelift and Fluffy Souffle.
We gotta start the show now.
Okay.
Now?
Yeah! Wait, what are we celebrating?
We're gonna be celebrating you! And you, and you, and you, and you, and you!
Hi, Fay and Fluffy.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us here.
So you two are both national heroes as far as I'm concerned. No, don't laugh, for your commitment to providing joy and education to children, but also for your commitment to fighting back against the people that want to stop you from doing that. And so first of all, thank you for your service and thank you for making this country a more joyful place for everyone. I feel like I've had the privilege to get to know both of you over the years, but for those who might not know, who are Fay and Fluffy and what is your mission?
I am Fluffy, a non-binary drag performer, and we've been doing story times together for over 8 years now, which is incredible to even think about. And our primary mission was, let's get together and read books to kids.
Yeah.
And then that became very readily apparent that it was much bigger than that, based on the feedback that we got from people and just people that were really excited about it, because that wasn't happening in Toronto or in Canada yet. And so we're so proud to have done that. And now it's become so much bigger about community, about literacy, about just family and accepting everybody. And it's been so amazing to have, babies in arms coming for the first time, and then grandparents coming and just people appreciating what we do, which then suddenly we're like, wow, this is a lot bigger than just reading stories to kids.
Yeah. I'm Facelift. I've been doing drag since 2007. I'd always had dreams and aspirations of somehow being able to do children's television in some capacity, but I was just so focused on teaching, and then saw the Drag Queen Story Hour in San Francisco in a newsreel thing, and I was blown away, and I thought, this is so perfect. And like, we both have backgrounds with children, and really both of our sort of drag is kind of joyful and fun and playful, and we don't take ourselves too seriously. So it was kind of like, this is wonderful. This is for people within our communities and their children. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And we've had so many amazing opportunities to be included in so many different families' lives, and to see those children grow is like, just wonderful.
Yeah, and like having this platform now, the fabulous show with Fay and Fluffy, I know that show's not intended for me as a long graduate of preschool, but I was watching a couple episodes and I just was so entertained by it, and it's such a joyful show, and I can only imagine that doing the show must be a pretty joyful experience for the both of you. Are there some like moments or stories that really stand out to you as just pure happiness, pure sort of joy making the show in this context?
There are so many moments that were highlights for us. So many kids that came out are part of our community already. So some kids have been in front of cameras before, and some kids, were just people that we knew. Some people just saw the call out for kids to be a part of it. And so getting to see some of the kids from our regular lives come and get to be a part of it was incredible. There's a kid that we have held as babies that are now able to be on our show, which is just so mind-blowing. And then we've had incredible guests. So many to list, but one of my favorite being Sukyin Lee, since we're talking about, local heroes and queeros who we love. And so she got to come and play with us on our first season, and then again in our second season. And she's just silly and perfect and smart and fun to be around.
And as people, as younger people watching her on TV, on Much Music, and then we're working alongside her and performing with her, and she's just as playful and joyous and wonderful as how she presented herself. To have those kind of moments where we're working with people who are kind of iconic to us is like, but I would say for me, being able to work with children and to center their voices on the show and to celebrate them is just such an incredible thing to be able to participate in and to have opportunities to work with children, to see their confidence grow. I mean, they come in and then by the end of the day, when they're finished filming with us, some of them may have been slightly a little bit sort of reserved or hesitant or shy, but then they just come to life and they know they're in a space that's safe. That really our message is that you're completely wonderful just the way you are, and be proud of yourself, you know? It's like, if we had those messages as children ourselves, I think, you know, who knows what it would have been like for us growing up, but so grateful to be able to do this together. It's so incredible and joyful, and it's happiness.
And that sort of joy must be helpful in combating the other side of this coin, which it's not fun to talk about, but I also feel like there's a lot of queer people who live in bubbles and don't fully understand how bad it actually is, and I feel like you both, unfortunately, know all too well.
Yeah.
You know, the level of sort of hate towards LGBTQ people, but specifically trans and non-binary people, LGBTQ children and youth, drag queens. So it has just gotten so out of control, and I just wondered if you could offer a little perspective as to sort of what the situation is and maybe how people who aren't aware of it could help in their own ways.
Well, you know, it's interesting that from that side, they often use this battle cry of, we're protecting children, as if we're not protecting and celebrating children. And so we've had bomb threats. We did an event, not last summer, the summer previous, where we were inundated in a public space in Mississauga with extreme alt-right. And I just remember thinking to myself, we can't ever stop backing away from this. Like, that's exactly what they want. They want to somehow intimidate. And I think the thing that was incredible was that we did that entire show surrounded with this hate. And we had like a drone above us and they're spewing scripture from the Bible. But the parents and the families that were there in attendance, they were incredible. They were shouting at them to shut up. We're here. I brought my kids here to see them. Get out of here. This isn't for you. And I was just like, this is amazing. But it does take its toll because it just makes you suddenly realize that just our existence is a threat to people because we are living our lives truthfully. And the reality is, there are people in the world that are not. And so when they see us thriving in the world and creating and building community and engaged and proud of who we are, that really, really shakes people up. And their immediate response is to project rage and anger. So it's really them, you know? It's like, they're sort of like, they're not being brave enough to be themselves, but that's also not my problem. And I'm a grown person. I'm not this little shy, little queer kid, you know, who was afraid to say anything and stand up for myself. I am like a grown person, and I would rather take it from that than as a means of protecting these children and their families and our allies, because that's what I do as an educator. And I don't want children to grow up in toxic ways where they feel hate and shame for themselves. I want them to be proud of themselves. I want them to find the power in their voice to speak up and to basically call shit out. You know what I mean? Like, but there are always going to be haters, and often people will say, it's seeped from the South, from America, but it's always been here. It's always been here.
I think they've just had more of an excuse to actually.
I think they felt emboldened.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, look at that going on down there. We can do this too. Yeah, there are times where I've felt worried and a little bit afraid. And then I realized that I have a commitment and a responsibility to community and fostering community and showing by example that don't back down, be strong in your convictions and be proud of who you are, and you know, seek solace in your community and support from your friends and your chosen family. So.
Well, I'm certainly not alone in my gratitude for both of you for doing that and being frontline workers in so many ways in the fight for not just the rights of LGBTQ people, but for children's like opportunity to explore all the things they should be able to explore.
Well, it should be freedom for everybody. It's hard to say, like, it's okay to be fat, it's okay to be queer, it's okay to be trans, but the world hates us.
Yeah.
And so it's hard even to give ourselves that message of love yourself when the world hates you. And the world is not made for some of us. So anybody that looks at this is going to look at us and be like, what is this like trans, tattooed weirdo, and this bearded queen over here, like, who are these people to teach children? And it's like, we come from an education background.
Yeah.
So as much as what we look like is going to turn some people off, once you actually come to a story time or you actually watch a show, then you can see how, change making it can be.
So let's rally together and be there for each other, Like right now in my classroom, we're talking about community and the act of allyship and how do we show up? What does it look like? We can't just say words. We can't just throw up a flag and go, there, we've done our part. It's like, no, we actually have to actively engage in this process. So I will point out to the children, like, I saw that you went over after you saw that child fall and you checked in on them. That's you helping to build a safe community. That's the action of that. And they were all proud of themselves. And so now I'm hearing them relay that back to each other, which is, it's kind of mind-blowing,
And eventually all these kids who were raised on Fay and Fluffy will become adults, and hopefully they're going to put all that back into the world, and it's every little thing helps, and it feels like the two of you have done so many little and big things, and I'm grateful that our society will benefit from that now and for when all of these children live their entire lives. Well, thank you so much for being here. And maybe let's remind everyone how they can watch you both on The Fabulous Show.
Yes, The Fabulous Show is available on Family Junior.
Well, I hope The Fabulous Show continues on for seasons and seasons and seasons. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
My pleasure. 2, 1.
Cheeseburgers.